Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I'm going to be swatching and reviewing the very exciting China Glaze Jurassic World Dominion collection, which is one of their summer collections. I do believe the other one is a Dippin' Dots themed one, which is really hard to find at the moment, but hopefully I will get my hands on that and share that with you guys. But here we have this Jurassic World one, and this is the description that they have. China Glaze is going Jurassic this summer. In partnership with Jurassic World Dominion, we've cloned the brilliant tones and bold textures of the movie in an all-new blockbuster nail lacquer collection. Stand out from the pack with fiery orange, auburn, and amber gleams to fossil grays, fierce blues, and forest greens. Used with caution, these colossal shades are bound to rule the earth. And Jurassic World is in theaters on June 10th. So this is kind of an interesting collection with some more experimental colors and finishes. I was honestly blown away or just kind of confused also while swatching these, but yeah, without further ado, let's get into the swatches and see what I was talking about. Like all my swatch and review videos, I'm starting with base coat. For some of the polishes in this collection, I would recommend a peel-off base coat over a normal base coat because they were quite difficult to remove. The first polish that I'm swatching is called T-Rex Appeal, and this is kind of a blue tack color, so it is a grayish blue or a bluish gray, and it's kind of hard to see because it is very light. And here it is in its first coat, and it is a very cool shade, and it's not a color that I already own in my collection, so I was actually pretty excited about it. And it had a normal glossy finish. It also dried pretty quickly, and overall was a pretty standard formula, and I didn't have much difficulty working with it. What I loved about this color was that it was super easy to wear and it's pretty subtle on the nails, so it definitely fits a lot of different occasions, and I think it's a great addition to any collection. And the next polish is called Sandy Scales, and this is kind of a cool tone grayish dusty beige. When I first started applying the polish, I thought that it was quite thick and I wondered if there was something wrong with my bottle, but it turns out that it's matte, so matte polishes just have that quality of drying faster, and yeah, it was actually pretty easy to build up in 2 coats and it leveled out really nicely for being matte. I thought that the original matte finish made for a very luxurious feel for a neutral like this, but you can totally add glossy top coat if you would like to wear it glossy as well. So on the left I have it in its original matte finish, and on the right I have it in the glossy form. So there is a slight change in the color just based off of my lighting, but for the most part you can see that it is a very good neutral. And the next polish is called Olive to Roar, and at first sight this one doesn't look to be anything special. It just looks like a military green creme polish, but once I started applying it, I noticed that it had an interesting formula and it was actually a lot more yellow in the base than I expected. It also has quite a coarse, gritty texture, so you'll see a few bumps, especially as you can see after the first coat dried, all those bumps kind of came up to the surface, and it turns out to be a textured polish that also dries matte. So there is quite a lot going on in this polish. I'm not exactly sure what it's supposed to resemble, maybe dinosaur skin, but for me it also looked like avocado skin, which is interesting because the color also reminds me of that as well. So on the left we have it matte and on the right we have it glossy. I was actually really looking forward to this shade because it's not a green that I already own, so I would have loved to have it in a normal creme formula, but even after smoothing the bumps over with glossy top coat, you can still see that fine texture underneath, and I'm not a big fan of that. And the next polish is a fine, shimmery, almost metallic polish called Orange You Fears. I love the shade of orange. It's very fiery, yellowy, and bright. Here's the first coat of Orange You Fears, so you can really see that bright orange base coming through, and it does have pretty good coverage because I was able to achieve full opacity in just 3 coats. Orange You Fierce is a pretty standard orange shimmer. What I really liked about this one was that it was really warm and yellowy, and that's how I like my oranges. And so if you don't have a polish like this, then this is definitely a great one to pick up. I'm not sure how this one would have looked matte, but I absolutely love the original finish glossy because you can see all the glitters in it and it just looks so cool. And the next polish is called Preserved in Amber, and this one is quite interesting because it is that same kind of fine shimmery but goldish base with medium-sized shards of glitter. Those glitters are cut really weirdly, roughly, and unevenly, so it was kind of difficult to work with. I did need 3 coats for full coverage, and even at that, I was kind of glopping it on, so if you work with really thin coats, you might need 4 or even 5 coats for your desired opacity, or maybe this polish is just meant to be a little sheer. I'm not sure, but it was not my favorite finish, and there are 2 of this kind in this collection, so I was not excited to swatch the other one after working with this one. So this photo here, I did actually apply top coat on the polish before taking, and even with a thick layer of glossy top coat, I was not able to smooth over all the different shards just because they were very unpredictable and hard to apply. So for that, it's definitely not a polish for beginners, and even if you are experienced with applying polishes, it's not the best look. Next polish is called Let 'Em Roar, which is kind of a beet plummy base with a fine pearlescent goldish shimmer running throughout it. The fine shimmer mixed in so well and incorporated in the polish, so naturally this polish gives off an almost pearlescent vibe or finish, and I normally don't like finishes like that, but I did like the color combo here, and I do find myself using these shades in the fall, so I'm actually pretty excited about that. And on that note, I think this one would have looked just as amazing matte, so that's definitely something I want to try out in the fall. The next polish is called Wrapped Around Your Finger. It has the same finish as Preserved in Amber, but this one has a shimmery green, almost metallic base with bright teal glitter shards. So while I understood the concept from Preserved in Amber, I really didn't understand why they needed to make a green and teal version of it. It was just super difficult to work with, and I found that the shards in this one were even more rough and uneven and unpredictable. So maybe you could try to place those shards and obviously avoid the free edge, because if you have any hanging there, they will definitely snag on your clothing, and it just makes for one hell of an impractical polish. And because the base is pearlescent, almost metallic, the more you move the brush around to get those shards in place, the more you mess up the base. So it's just really confusing why they put these things together. I feel like it really does not work in one bottle of polish. The last polish in this collection is called You Should Know Beta, and I love that name. This is an ultramarine blue polish with almost a purple flash, and it has silver glitter running throughout it. There is a lot of silver glitter, and it's super easy to apply this polish because those glitters break up the base, and it also adds a little oomph and a little something interesting to the polish. So I really like this one. I love purples, so I love that this blue was more purple leaning. Only 2 coats for full coverage. I absolutely loved this polish. I enjoyed painting it, and I definitely do see myself using this maybe in the winter time, definitely not in the summer, but I think it's a gorgeous polish if you like blues and purples. So that is my swatch and review of the China Glaze Jurassic World Dominion collection. Now this collection was kind of a miss for me more than a hit, and I feel that I can appreciate experimental finishes, but some of these were just straight up hard to apply and just did not look good. It was just not worth it in my opinion. So I mean, the swatch and reviews are going to be my opinions, of course, but I find that I tried my best to show the positives in polishes, especially if it's just perceived as an ugly color by most swatchers, because for me, I'll have a use for it in my nail art. But when the finish is not good, especially if it's chunky, if it's like a really distracting glitter like we have here, it's just so difficult. You can't use it in nail art, and then it's just, you don't want to have a full manicure of it either. So for me, it's just a really difficult collection. I'm sure that there is an audience for it, and if you love the movies, then maybe you will love the polishes and you'll understand them. But for me, I don't understand. But yeah, that's basically all I have to say about this collection. If you want to purchase it, I will link where I got it in the description box. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye everyone!